Welcome, everybody. This is Joe Benjamin. It's an amazing day to be alive, and I'm excited about today. So listen, it's going to be another exciting episode live right here. So, wherever you are, I want you to go right ahead, share the broadcast, tell somebody that we are live right now, and we are going to have an amazing time. What I want you to do as well is to let me know where you are watching us from, which part of the world are you watching us from? All right, type that in the comments so that we can make sure that you're welcome. I am an author coach and publisher. We help Kingdom authors to publish their books, become bestsellers, publish their books without overwhelm. Last year, we were just helping people publish books. This year, we're helping them publish bestsellers. It's two different things, all right? So I'm excited about the authors and individuals that will bring on the screen every now and then so that you can learn from them, be inspired, and I know that you will get help. All right. So again, welcome everybody. In just a moment, I'm going to get Carol on the screen, but I just want you to join us, share the broadcast, tell somebody that Joe Benjamin is live right now, and I know that something amazing is going to happen even right now. I know people are watching us on YouTube. Okay, some are watching us on Facebook as well. All right. So we appreciate the shares. We appreciate everybody that supports what it is that we do. Because when you support what we do, you help us be able to make a difference and impact even more people around the world. Awesome. All right. So today, I'm excited because the author that we're going to bring on the screen in a minute is very inspirational, an inspiration to me as well. You know, we work with a lot of people, but many times it's the stories that you hear, the what they've had to go through to get to where they are, and also just the honesty and transparency of being able to release that story. That's what we want to talk about today. All right. Carol is coming on the screen in just a minute, but I just want to know where you're watching us from, okay? I want you to share the broadcast. I want you to tell me where you we see London, UK in the house. Good to see London in the house. Welcome. Where else? Who else? Which other country is represented live with us right now? Welcome to everybody joining us. Go right ahead, share the link, be it Facebook, YouTube. It's going to be amazing. I know that there's something that you will learn even from this live interview that we are doing even right now. All right. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to everybody that is sharing. We are ready, I believe, now to get into what it is that we have on today. And let me take this opportunity to welcome Carol Scafe live with us right now. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Joe. How are you? Hello, everyone.
Doing great as always. Even better because you are live with us on today.
Thank you very much, Joe. I much appreciate it.
Awesome. Congratulations on being a published author. My goodness. Well done.
All of the glory belongs to God. I'm just an
Yes.
instrument, so I'm really thankful that He chose to use me on this
Uh-huh.
occasion. So I'm thankful.
Awesome, amazing. I know it's not an easy feat to write and share your story, particularly your story, and we'll get into that. But just having the boldness and the obedience to be able to just do what God has instructed you to do.
Mm.
For that, I want to say a big congratulations.
Amen. Definitely. Thank you.
So, Carol's book is called Purpose in the Pain. Carol, what's this all about?
The title is very self-explanatory. I I have been through a lot of pain, and I found the purpose. I found out the reason why I've suffered a lot of pain. That's basically it.
Mhm. Wow.
And I shall hold off until you're ready, Joe, because there's a lot to it.
Yeah, I know there is a lot. There is a lot. My goodness. And you've been through a lot. And I just love how, like I said, not many people are very honest about their wounds, about their pain, about their scars. Why
Mm.
do you think, Carol, many times people want to hide their scars?
It's shame, it's embarrassment, it's fear of being judged. You don't know if someone's going to look down on you. You don't know if they're going to treat you differently. Um, then you don't know if they're actually going to blame you.
Mm,
So there's a lot that goes on with these inner scars that we carry, and the reason why we carry them so insular, so much inside of us, and we don't allow it to come out. There are multiple reasons, and a lot of it just culminates in fear. We are fearful of the response. We are fearful of the reaction of other people.
mhm. Absolutely. My goodness. And you were really brave and bold in, sharing your message without any gloves, which I think is very refreshing. I think the world just wants honesty and transparency because that's how we can really see or learn from you. Because nowadays, I think with social media and the way the world is going, everybody does things for clout and for virality and for people to see.
Mm.
But you chose to say, listen, I'm going to be honest with my story, and no matter how uh, painful it is. But what has taken you to get to that place to say, you know what, I'm just going to be vulnerable and be honest with my story?
I have decided to be very raw, open, transparent for one reason. I know there are a lot more of people out there like me who don't have an outlet, who don't feel that they can speak what's going on. And I've deliberately been the way I've been in the book to show people it's okay to tell the truth.
Mm,
It's okay to tell what is happening. It's okay to open your mouth in a little bit of protest and say, this is unfair. This should not be happening to me. Why am I having to take this? Who is going to help me through this? And every human being on this race has a right to ask, why am I suffering this way?
mm,
What's the reason for this? Why does it keep happening? Why
mm.
me? Everyone has
Wow.
the right, because we all go through things and we need to know. So I've been open and transparent just to say others to others, you could do it too.
Mm, that's amazing. You've been what I call a an open book.
Mm.
An open book means is anybody can turn the pages, and read and take from it what they want. So
Yeah.
that's really, really great. So I see some people joining us. Welcome everybody that is joining us live right now. I have the honor of having this conversation with Carol. As a matter of fact, Carol is officially launching her book today. And the last time I checked, right? The last time I checked, Carol's book was on number two on Amazon, number two best-selling in a category on Amazon, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And wherever you are, just type congratulations in the chat. Okay. If you're watching us wherever you are, just type congratulations because that is an amazing feat. And I know by the end of the day, this book is going to be a bestseller. By the end of the year, this book is going to it's just going to literally sell itself because it's got so many stories in there that when you start reading it, you just won't stop. It's called Purpose in the Pain: Finding Hope in Life's Darkest Moments of Domestic Abuse, Divorce, and Grief. My goodness, domestic abuse, divorce, grief. You've been through a lot, Carol.
I have. And not everything is in the book.
Mm,
There is a lot that's not in the book,
mhm,
but I've put some very specific points in the book for a reason. And I have been very careful about protecting the people in the book that I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Because in all of doing all of this and being transparent, I'm very aware that all of us are God's people.
Mm-hmm.
All of us have feelings. All of us have issues at times, and all of us do wrong things. And in the book, as much as I've been open about what has happened to me, I've also been very open about the things that I've done wrong, that I shouldn't have done.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it's necessary. It's not just that everyone's doing things to me. There are things that I've done that I had to set right with people, that I had to set right with myself and set right with God. So
Mm-hmm.
it has to be balanced.
Wow.
And I'm thankful that God allowed me to have that full perspective on my stories.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Amazing, amazing, Carol. And Carol is going to be having an in-person book launch slash birthday. Well, okay, sometime in February.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's an invite-only event. I don't want to be inviting the whole world to come to it, right?
Yeah.
uh, yeah, Jose and I are going to be there, so we're looking forward to that. I think it's going to be an amazing event, just
Mhm.
to, of course, celebrate your life as well as celebrate this great achievement of getting your book out.
Mhm.
Now, listen, if you're watching us right now, you haven't got a copy, today is Carol's official launch day. So do us a favor, go to Amazon, get a copy of this amazing book. It will literally change your life. You see these big subjects, dark moments in life, domestic abuse, divorce, grief. If you have been through any of those, seeking healing, or you know somebody, this is indeed a book that will change your life.
Definitely. Mhm.
So I'm going to post the link because Carol, as we do the interview, I want these people to buy the book as well. All
Of
right.
course.
So we're going to be having loads of Amazon breaks,
Okay.
okay, where I'm going to ask you to go and order your copy. Okay, it will literally change your life. And also, Carol, I work with many authors, right? And one of the things that people ask me, particularly people that were hurt, betrayed, abused, they are very reluctant to share their story. They're very scared of the repercussions
Yeah.
of doing that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, aren't you scared of any repercussions?
No. When you're telling your truth, and now I'm going to change that. When you're telling the truth, there is nothing that anyone can say about the truth.
Hmm.
And I have made sure that what I've written is the honest truth. So anyone that wants to come and confront me about that, they may be wanting to confront me about not me speaking about what has happened,
Wow.
but they can never challenge me on the truth of what happened. And
Hmm.
within the book also there is evidence of issue. There's pictures and there's things like,
Yeah.
and I would have liked to have put more, but it's traumatic. It's
Hmm.
traumatic. But
When you just put a little bit, just
put a
to.
little bit in there to show you this is the truth.
Hmm.
And like I've put in the book, it's not about embarrassing anyone. It's not
Hmm.
about blaming anyone. It's about talking what has happened, because what I demonstrate also in the book is that everyone's victorious. The story is victorious for everyone, because the God that I serve is a God for everyone. So when they've done wrong, they can be forgiven and they can change. Just like when I've done wrong, I am forgiven and I can change. So it's not a blaming thing. It's telling my story raw as it was,
Hmm.
and knowing that all of us, we can get to a point where we're all whole. Everyone in the book can reach to a point where we're whole. And I've protected their names, obviously, and I've protected them as much as I can. However, all of us can be made whole. I have nothing against anyone who has done me anything. I have no ill feeling, no ill heart towards any of
Yeah.
them. Because in my process of recovery and healing, these are the things that God allowed me to allow to happen in my life. I don't feel away. My husband, my ex-husband, 1 and 2, can knock my door today and be welcomed in for a drink, a cup of coffee. They are now my brothers,
Hmm.
right? And I
Wow.
pray for them. I pray for them every day. I call their names. They are now my brothers. They are no longer my enemies.
Hmm.
They are my brothers, because that's what I'm commanded to do. And the Bible tells me, and the Bible is what I follow for those of you who are not in the same faith as me. The Bible tells me that if I hate my brother, I'm a murderer, and I'm no murderer. I
Wow.
love all of them. I love all the people who have done me wrong. You know why? Because Christ forgave me for mine. And it would be ill feeling of me and an ill-witted way of me to not forgive others. And that's one of the lessons I learned in my recovery. There's no one that I will ever hate.
Wow.
I will love and I will pray for them. And even when they give me, or if they give me backlash on the book, it makes me pray for them more, because I realize healing still needs to take place in their lives. And I will
Yes.
pray for that healing to happen.
Wow. Absolutely phenomenal. And I'm going to talk to you about your healing process and how you got to this point, because,
Yeah.
many times people want to write or want to share their story, but actually they're sharing from a place of hurt and um, of pain where they haven't really healed. And I feel like you're a real example of a person that's got their healing first. Now you can actually talk about the past without getting all sucked up in the hate and the anger and the bitterness,
Yeah.
which many people have.
Yeah. Yeah. I believed wrongly that my full healing had taken place between 2018 and 2021. When I separated from my second husband, and I ended that relationship at the end of 2017, I started immediately on a process of healing,
Okay.
because I knew that I needed to get things out of my life and be forgiven for wrongs. And he could tell
Right.
you that I would say to him, forgive me for any wrongs that I've done. Forgive me for this. As God brought it to me, I would say to him, forgive me if I've done this wrong. Forgive me if I've done that wrong, etc. So I started the process then. And then what happened, and I really progressed with a lot of counseling stuff from 2019 with
Okay.
professional secular counselors that I find, one of them being Freedom from Abuse. And I started that journey, but I hit a huge setback in 2021 when my mother died. And I thought that to then my process of healing was nearly complete.
Okay.
And then 2021, my mother died. And then a lot of issues within the family came up, and I started to go backwards in the lessons that I'd learned in the counseling and in the therapy sessions that I'd taken.
Okay.
So what had happened, what I actually concluded was that God had to allow me to go through more for this book to happen. Because what you've got to realize is that abuse, some people who are abusing you don't realize that they're abusing you. They don't realize by their behavior, by their words, by
They're
their
broken
attitudes, yeah,
by
that they're,
virtue of them doing that, right?
yeah, they're broken, and they don't realize they're harming you as well. So what God had to put me through was physical abuse, violence. Then I went through years of emotional abuse,
Wow.
so that I could understand the full spectrum of abuse. And then I went through grief, the death of my mother. Then I went through other sorts of strains and stresses. So you can have abuse from not just relationships, as in your partner, abuse from friends, abuse from family, abuse from your employers, and abuse from the church. And there's a lot, and I can write about all of those things, right, in context to say anybody you encounter in your life can cause you to be abused if you have not learned the lessons, and if you don't understand who you are, who God says you are, how strong you really are when you have him in your life. And I had to learn those lessons, all of those lessons, to write the book. And that's why I had my little setback in 2021. But it wasn't until I was completely broken in December 2022. I
Okay.
was on the verge of like a nervous breakdown with all the pressures that I was going through after my mother died. I felt that I was on the brink of a nervous breakdown. And that's when I knew I had to separate myself from everybody. And from January last year, I wouldn't believe that I would be sitting here today how I
Wow.
was in January last year, because I was broken, absolutely broken. But when I started just to take myself away from people and hear that inner voice telling me all the toxicity in your life has got to go, I
Mm-hmm.
had to then set boundaries. I was taught how to set boundaries for everyone that I encounter in my life. I
Right.
was
Yeah.
taught about people who have narcissistic traits.
Uh-huh.
I was taught those things that I never knew. So I can easily recognize abuse. I can easily see when things are happening now. But it took a time of separation. So by the time I had met you, Joe, I was whole,
All
because I
right. Because
had to
you were at the
go through,
time.
yeah, I had to
Mm-hmm.
go through all those years of learning and lessons and really hard, tough. And I always use the scripture, I think it's David in Psalms, that says, I watered the couch with my tears. This is
Right.
literal for me. I can't even sing that well anymore like I used to. The amount of crying I have done,
Oh my
the amount
goodness.
of tears that poured out, and people will never understand. But
Hmm.
that was a part of the healing. The part of the healing as well, a big part of it, Joe, was forgiveness. You see,
Wow. My
when I learned
goodness.
the lesson of forgiveness, I was free.
Hmm.
Because when I opened the Bible and I saw about forgiveness,
Yeah.
I was like, if I don't forgive others, I'm never going to be forgiven.
Right.
Wow, that really blew my mind. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how it all happened for me. And by the time I met you, I was ready,
You were
because
ready. You
anything
were
I talk
ready.
about doesn't hurt me anymore. It
No, you
doesn't
were
hurt.
whole.
People don't
Yeah.
trigger me anymore. People don't bother me no more. I can say no to people. All these things I couldn't do before, because everyone had access to every part of me.
My God.
You have access in my home, you have access in my life, in my finances, anything.
Emotions.
You've got total access. And now I've learned to put boundaries here, put boundaries there, lock that off. Some people I have deliberately have no contact with,
Good. Good.
because it's important to realize, as much as we are loving people and we're God-fearing people, there are boundaries that need to be set for some people for you to move on. And some people who attach themselves to your life,
Yeah.
or you attach yourself to, are not necessarily good for you as much as you
No,
love them.
no.
And I love people. I'm just a people person. But when you've spent life being pounded,
My
and then
God.
you learn the lessons and you see the flags, you know that you can move on.
Mm. And Carol, just to give us a bit of context, and I see people joining us. Welcome everybody, joining us live right now. I'm speaking to Carol Scafe, best-selling author. Her book right now is in the top 10 best-selling books in a category on Amazon. Number 2, last time I checked. She's the author of Purpose in the Pain. So welcome everybody. Let me know, guys, where you're watching us from. And I've posted a link on YouTube and on Facebook where you can grab a copy of this amazing book. Do it today, because this book is launching today. There'll be an in-person launch later, but the online launch is right today. And we're so excited that we're talking to the author, the person behind the book. So Carol,
Yeah.
just so we can give people a bit of context, because we talked about grief and abuse, but we've not really kind of gotten into a little bit of detail without getting into too much detail, because of course the book is there for people to read.
Yeah.
Just talk to us a little bit. When you mention abuse, what did that look like?
Okay. Um, my nose was broken. My eye socket was fractured. Busted leg. Stomped on in the head.
Do you know what? We should have brought that picture actually. But
We
anyway,
should
it's in the
put
book. All right. There's a picture, but it's in the book. If you want to see the picture of a bruised and battered Carol, get the book. All right. You'll there's a picture in there. My
Yeah.
goodness.
I was beaten whilst pregnant. Um, there were numerous infidelities. There's so much weapons,
Hmm.
suffocation, strangulation, rape. There's a lot.
There's a lot. Wow.
There's a lot, and I can speak about it freely because that's not who I am.
Hmm.
And I pray that that's not who the people are today.
Hmm.
But I've been there. Um, I've had him travel miles to get me in London.
Hmm.
And he's disabled the car, knowing that I'm going to run to my car to drive off. He disabled it. That happened twice. Snatched the children from school.
Wow, my goodness,
A lot of
you've
stuff
been
went
through
on.
a lot.
The police were his family, so I couldn't go to the police.
It will become a family affair.
So the
All right.
police,
So one of the interesting things, Carol, in the
yeah,
book, and again, if you're watching, this book is a riveting read. You need to grab a copy. All right, it's on Amazon. One of the interesting things that you mention is that you've done in the book. They're letters. There are two letters that you have in the book. One
yes,
to ex-husband number one, and ex-husband number two. Now,
yeah,
let me just, for the benefit of our audience, when we hear you talking about being free and you have forgiveness, let me just read a line or two from one of those letters. These are like maybe 2 pages, okay? A whole section, a whole 2 pages dedicated to first husband. Okay, so um, all right. So this is the paragraph, page 184. Before we get to a second from last paragraph, Carol says this: despite this, I extend complete forgiveness to you. She had, of course, mentioned stuff about things there, but I'm just paraphrasing this. Despite this, I extend complete forgiveness to you, and I continue to pray for you. The evidence of your ongoing brokenness and lack of remorse, even in the 2 decades post-divorce, is apparent. While none of us is perfect, requiring continual self-reflection and alignment with God, my forgiveness remains, despite the absence of an apology or request for forgiveness from you. And then you go on to say, which is really, really touched me this: I pray for a transformative encounter with God for you, one that removes the mask still veiling your true self, etc., etc. How does somebody get to a place of forgiving somebody who hasn't even asked for forgiveness?
my faith. My faith in God is at its strongest it's ever been. And I've grown up in the church. I know about church. I know about God. But by the time I had come out of my first marriage, I was totally out of church. I was drinking. I was smoking. I didn't know who I was when I came out of that first marriage. So when I reconnected properly with God last year, a few months before I met you, I found a place of quiet rest near to the heart of God. And that's where I go to every day. And I'm guided by the Bible very strongly now in my life than I've ever been.
Okay.
And when I read these texts in the Bible that tell me about forgiveness, that tell me about how I have to do that, because a part of me wanting to follow God properly for the rest of my days is that I have to do everything to please him. And therefore, in pleasing him, I have to follow what he says. So forgiveness was not an option. It's mandatory, right?
Right.
So I have to forgive. So I can write like that and mean it and tell it to their face, because that's what I mean. I actually mean good well-being for them. I want them to do well. I want them to prosper. I actually want them to buy the book. And I think one of them may well be listening tonight, if not both. I need them to buy the book for your healing. See what you have done that you may not have recognized as being so damaging, and use that. Go into your quiet place. I very rarely pray openly. I'm always in my quiet place, in my room. I make that my place. I want them to get the book and see themselves. Ask God to do the work, because see yourself, not to be judging anything, but to say to God, how can I have the peace that Carol now has? Because the peace I had didn't come just from myself. It
No.
comes from an inner connection and find that quiet place in the presence of God that I do daily now. And I want them to have that. And I want them, if I ever see them, to have started that work if they've not done it already.
Wow.
You know?
My goodness, this is really, really inspirational and encouraging. And I just want to encourage anybody that is listening right now, if you've had to deal with some pain, or maybe even right now, one of the biggest things that I've dealt with is, in my pastoral counseling and things of that nature, is that unforgiveness in past hurt and couples and people that have hurt each other, even families, where really they can move on because they fight. Okay, sorry. There's a comment here, Carol.
Yes.
I don't want to uh, focus on that, but every now and then people ask questions. And if you're watching us, if you have a question, type it in the comments. If you have a question for Carol, all right, you hear the subject matter, purpose in the pain, okay? And of course, you might have a question, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, please let us know in the comments. Now, there's a comment here, Carol, that maybe I want you to speak into.
Mhm.
It says, as long as they don't laugh you in the face and belittle you, good for you. What would you say to that comment, Carol?
As long as they don't laugh at me in the face, I'm not understanding that. As long as
Okay,
they
so
don't.
how I understand it is that
Mhm.
most people won't do what you are doing because they are scared of other
Oh,
people's opinions. They are
oh,
scared of being belittled or
yes,
being laughed at. So I think
yes,
maybe you want to just speak into that, because I think
yeah,
that's a key fear for most people:
it
being
is.
laughed at, being ridiculed. So
Mhm.
people tend to just internalize all this
Yes,
pain
yes.
because I don't want anybody to laugh at me.
No, I think when you get to a point of healing, that no longer matters. People don't trigger you when you get to your point of healing.
Mhm,
It doesn't matter what people say.
mhm,
When you get to your point of healing, you begin to know who you are.
mhm,
You begin to know your boundaries. You begin to know what you should and should not allow. I'm not fearful to tell people no. I'm not fearful to tell people to stop contacting me. I'm not fearful to tell people don't talk to me.
mhm,
And it's not because I'm being evil. I set my boundaries here. This is how much I know I can take. And you know what? I've learned to love myself first. Let
mhm,
me explain what I mean by that. Um, the Bible tells me that I must love my neighbor as myself. How on earth do I do that without loving myself?
mhm.
If I hate myself, I have to hate my neighbor because I have to love them as I love myself, right? So
Right.
I had to learn to love myself. I actually learned to be patient with myself. And I pull myself up if I find myself not being patient with myself, because I'm saying if you're impatient with yourself, you're going to be impatient with others. Be patient with yourself.
Mm.
So when you get to the point of wholeness, you're no longer worried about what people say or what people think, because your validation comes straight from God. You know who He says you are, and you know what you are, and you stand in that strength and courage because you're whole. So it doesn't matter what people say, it doesn't matter how crazy people get about what you say and what you write. As long as you're being honest, that could never be challenged. It can never be challenged.
Absolutely amazing, and we get back to that point of honesty. As long as you're honest about your story, your story is facts. So there's no shame
Exactly.
in your story at all.
Hmm.
Absolutely amazing. So, Carol, I just want to also take opportunity just to get to know you more. Our audience to get to know you more. The work that you do, and also we're going to talk about your your future plans. I know there's some things coming in the pipeline, things that we're working on in the as we go forward, but maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
Well, just to take it back for people who don't know me, I'm 54. I'm the proud mother of 3 children, and I have 2 beautiful granddaughters. Um, I work as a housing manager for a local authority, and I love anything kind of legal, anything economics, that kind of thing. Predominantly, my love is for God, And I will not stop saying that because it's him that has made me who I am today. And in January last year, I was asking God in prayer about what my purpose is. And that's why I'm here today, because I realized clearly from a scripture in the Bible that there was a man that was born blind. And the disciples were asking Jesus, what is it that he had done? What sin had he done? Or what sin had his parents done for him to be born blind? And the answer was that none of these things, there was no sin. It was so that the works of God could be
Yeah, the
manifest
glory of
in
God.
him.
Yeah.
And that's how it was revealed to me that the things that I went through, and actually for me, they were to help other people.
Hmm.
And therefore, that's how this all started. And that's how I managed to get hold of you. And this is how all of this thing started, because I realized that's why the book ended up being Purpose in the
The
Pain.
pain. So your
Because
purpose was in the pain.
of the pain. So
Mm.
I have no hang-ups now about what I've gone through, because what I've gone through is now a blessing. And I think in the letters you refer to, I actually thanked people for what happened, because if it hadn't happened, it wouldn't have drawn me so closer to God.
Hmm.
So I found the purpose in the pain, and I want people to be able to find the purpose in the things that they go through. Always go back and say, I wonder what this reason is for this.
Mm-hmm.
How can I turn this into a positive? Now my pain is turned into my praise, and I'm a totally different person. I look at it in a totally different perspective. And I found that, if I hadn't gone through those things, I wouldn't have this purpose and this ability and this gift now, and desire to want to help people, and to
Mm-hmm.
have this place that people who are afraid to speak can speak
Can speak.
confidently,
Yeah.
anonymously.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, all of this stuff that you build up changes your personality. It changed me from a jovial person to this. I hated the world. I had hated everything. Nothing inside of me was happy because I was carrying all of this stuff. But when you get to talk, it was a cell group of ladies in the West Midlands that God so happened to put together, that I was started to talk. And even at that time when I started to talk, it wasn't even about violence. They didn't know about that. It was just about the recent infidelity that had come out while we was both on the worship team, and he was in the worship team and I was in the worship team, and he was seeing someone else in the church. And that's what came out. And then we had this group, and I started to talk from them. But when I realized that I wasn't alone, because the other women also had issues and we confided in each other, they had their different issues, it gave me confidence.
Confidence.
And that's what I want for people. I
Hmm.
want you to have this place so that you can gain the confidence to speak, because I was in a group of young ladies who weren't judging me and were just there listening and praying, and never said why, or why did you stay, or why did you leave, and all of this kind of nonsense. And it's not about that. You know what you're going through more than anyone else, and sometimes you just need to offload. I had none of that. And that led to things like self-soothing and drinking and smoking, which are unnecessary if you have an outlet that's different. I had nothing. So I eventually turned to those things to self-soothe.
Wow.
Mm.
This is absolutely amazing. And thank you again for sharing, Carol, and just encouraging us, encouraging everybody that is live with us right now. Serena says, "Oh, this is beautiful." She's enjoying this, your words. And thank you so much to everybody that is watching. Welcome, everybody. New people joining us as well, even as the interview is going forward. Welcome to everybody. I have the wonderful Carol Scafe live with us right now, who is a best-selling author of the book Purpose in the Pain. This book was number 2, or is number 2 on Amazon right now, which is absolutely amazing. And we are so happy uh, with what it is that you have done to share your story, share your truth, despite the backlash, the pain, whatever it is. You have just really been honest in your story. Now, one of the things, Carol, that you have done or are in the process of doing. I know you have a website, purposeinthepain.co.uk. Can you just talk to us about that? And again, we are very happy and honored to have been part of this, part of the book, part of everything. You know, it's just been a blessing to work with you. Can you just talk to us about purposeinthepain.co.uk?
Yes, when I started to write with you mid last year, I had no idea that a website would be there. No idea whatsoever that there would even be a website. I just thought, let's get the book done and whatever. And it was coming towards the end of the book. And you know, we've always made sure that we pray through everything, even for the title of the book. And I was coming to the end of it, and it just came to me, time to talk. The vision was time to talk.
Mhm.
It's time to talk, because when you look around and see the behaviors of some people,
Mhm.
it doesn't faze me anymore, because I see there's an issue. So I'm
Mhm.
more compassionate and more patient with people, because I see that there's clearly something going on.
Mhm.
So I think time to talk is going to be a forum where you can talk, where you
Right.
can offload. I remember
Mhm.
times when you know, when I didn't have any access to the police anymore, and therefore I'm going to be stuck on my own, suffering and not knowing what to do. I started to write, and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and that kind of was healing to me, because I got it off the inside onto the paper.
Mhm.
Where you can have a forum where you can speak anonymously,
Right.
and you could just offload any time of night or day, that helps so much. And then you have other people either sharing their stories, or leaving a word of encouragement for you, or leaving a prayer. You're not judged. We don't even have to know who you are. You don't even have to know your name, but it becomes a place of healing, and it comes a place where you can request prayer. And then there's people all over the place that you don't even know who are praying for
For
you.
you.
That's the vision, and that's the
Wow.
hope. It's going to help with so much brokenness, because there's so much weight that people are carrying, and it's horrible to carry that weight. But if you can offload, and if you can write, and if you can not be
Share with others.
identified,
Mhm.
yes, and share with others, you're offloading your pain, but you're also helping someone else with
Mhm.
theirs. And then
Mhm.
everybody's offloading, and everybody's encouraging and uplifting, and iron sharpens iron. And then people, you'll find that people will be different, because just because they can get it off of their chest.
Right.
One thing we've got to be sure of: prayer works. I've proved it over and over again. Prayer works, but practical help is required. We
Mhm.
need to be signposting people to professional agencies, right? We need to signpost them to the DV helplines, to the different solicitors, to the places where they can get financial aid to assist them in things that they want to do, to safe places, to refuges, right? We need to have that pool of specialisms. And I'm talking mainly to the church at the moment. We need to have those sources. All of my work and my help came from secular sources, and they're brilliant. But I would have loved to have a great source leading me biblically. And I had
Mhm.
to find those online. I couldn't find them within. You get what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And that's important. And I think that when you start to talk about these delicate taboo subjects openly, especially in our churches, people, and then people keep hearing it, because they're not going to trust you when they hear it once. But if they hear that you're on this topic all the time, they begin to believe, and they begin to believe that you are genuine about helping them. Then they will open up,
Mhm.
because they have to gain the confidence. When you've been abused for years, you have no confidence in anything. You don't have any
Wow.
confidence in yourself.
Mm.
So you have to gain the confidence of the people who are suffering before they open up. So you have to be
Mhm.
constantly on it, constantly showing that you care, constantly showing that they can come. Your information is not going to be all over the place. It's
Right.
confidential.
Private
You're tight
confidential.
confidentiality, and then people will open up. So
Wow.
that's where I'm heading, and that's what I'm praying into, and that's where God is leading me. And I know that, once I allow him to lead, everything's going to work just how he wants it to.
It's going to be amazing.
Mm,
Wow, amazing, amazing. Listen, you're watching us right now, you're live. I just want you to believe this one truth, that there is purpose in your pain. Carol is the embodiment of that statement. I mean, she's just gone into a little bit of detail. I mean, in the book, she talks about how she lost her first child. She'll talk about how she lost her mother. There's a whole lot of life stories that are raw and honest. So if you're live with us right now, type in the comments if you believe that God is going to use your pain and bring something beautiful out of it. All things work together for good. Type in the comments, there is purpose in my pain. I want you to type that in agreement. All right, wherever you may be, you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, wherever, type this in agreement. There is purpose in my pain. I want you to believe that Carol's story is not just for people that you sing on the screen, sing on your phone, sing on your YouTube, but this can be your story as well.
amen.
As a matter of fact, Carol, there's a message I'm seeing from Caroline Anderson. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing, Carol. I'm so tearful listening to the pains you experienced, but how writing this book was therapy for you and will be therapy for others too. Thank you, Caroline, for that wonderful message. You see, you see what happens. See, and this is the thing, Carol. Many times when people are scared to share their story because they worry what will people say, right?
Yeah.
But actually, the right people, when they hear it, it's salvation to them. Is that all
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think that the people who hear it and it's salvation are the people that have some kind of understanding and can connect where they've also gone through something and may have come out. And they
Uh-huh.
can understand that because they've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not ashamed to talk about what they've been through. But there are many people who will resonate with the story and it will make them a bit angry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fear that drives that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
fear because they probably want to speak too,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the fear. But I want to encourage anyone now, listen, life is short. Don't take these burdens to your grave.
Mm-hmm.
Life is worth living. I have been single now I've been divorced for 2.5 years, but I've been on my own nearly 7 years. And it's been the best time of my life. It's
Wow.
been the most productive time of my life. And I'm not saying that I'm knocking marriage. I love marriage. I'd love to be married. But this is not the time for me. But I use this single time now. It's so productive.
Mm.
It would actually very,
Look at
very.
all these things that are happening, the books, the
Yes,
websites, the
yes,
podcasts,
gorgeous.
everything.
I'm far too busy to have a husband. But I am thankful. My life is beautiful. It has the essence of beauty. It smells great. And it's because of the love that I have for God and the love that He's allowed me to have for myself and the love I now feel for people. Even those people that I know are my enemies, I love them. I love them. I love heaping the coals of fire on their head because I love them and I pray for them. And I see the backlash from some of them, but I pray for them because I see the brokenness. And I so want everyone to come into this flow of what I'm feeling and this presence of God that I'm feeling. I want that for everyone because it's a great place to be. It really is a great place to be. But the work has to be done. It took me 2.5 years to forgive. It didn't happen
Yeah,
overnight. It
it
took me
takes
2.5
time.
years. So it takes time.
It does
But
take
if you're
time.
determined, you'll make it through.
Yes. Wow, amazing. There's a couple of congratulations coming through. Serena says, congratulations on your book,
Thank
Carol. I see Reverend GB Lawal saying, congratulations. He's a future author. His book is coming out very soon as well. There's going to be another bestseller coming down the line.
you.
He says, congratulations to our newest author, Carol.
Thank you.
And again, we just want to say congratulations. If you're here, just type congratulations. Let's just congratulate and celebrate this amazing launch day. As I said, this is an online kind of launch that we're doing, but they will have a real in-person um, launch and book signing as well in February, and it's going to be amazing. So, Carol, what next? I mean, what next?
Well, I have a couple of interviews lined up that my lovely marketing manager has sorted out for me. And I have connected with those people, USA, Toronto, Africa, um, um, and an invite to speak in Toronto. Um, I'm just praying over everything that I have the spirit of discernment to say yes where I'm to say yes, and to say no where I'm to say no. And the focus always must be giving God the glory. If it
Right.
doesn't give God the glory, I'm not in it. And because this is all about God. Let's remember the book is there. I'm an author. Well, that's it. I could not be at this place without God, because I never knew that I would make it to age 30. I never knew that I would survive and to be, and hence why I'm doing the big thing next month with my 55th birthday and the book launch, is because it's celebratory. I'm celebrating. How am I reached to 55? That has to be God, because I didn't really think I was going to get into my 30s. And God has been faithful. And there's so much in the pipeline going on. I've still been told that there's a couple more interviews lined up and stuff. So that'll make about 6, 7 in the pipeline. I'm quite busy and working as well, sharpening up this website so that it offers what God wants it to offer, what the people need. So please feed into there and give your comments of what you want, what you want to see there, what will help you. You don't have to leave your name. I'm happy with anonymous. It doesn't matter. God knows who you are. So leave your ideas, leave your thoughts, what you'd like to see. And let's just build this community of people who just talk, no judgment, pray for each other, encourage each other, share stories, and lives, I believe, will be, lighter. Their burdens will be lifted and they'll feel a lot lighter, and life will become a lot more clearer and a lot happier for a lot of people.
That's Carol's website right there on the screen, purposeinthepain.co.uk. So you can connect with Carol on that website, send in your messages, your stories, questions, or even feedback from the book for those that have already bought the book. Now, I want to make another call for those people that are live with us right now. I want you to order Carol's best-selling book on Amazon today. All right, I'm going to post the link on YouTube and on Facebook. I will take you straight to Amazon, where you can order a copy of this book, and I know it's going to really open your eyes. There's a beautiful comment here, Carol, from on Facebook from Ambrosine Townsend. Congratulations, Carol. The topic of forgiveness and the way you're speaking on it is very powerful. Well done. Love and best wishes from Ambrosine and Patrick. Thank you so much, guys, for that amazing comment. Now, Carol, there'll be people watching you. They also have a story to share. What is the importance of sharing your own story?
It is going to help somebody. When someone listens to your story, they're going to resonate with what you've been through. They're going to see themselves in your story. Yeah. My story is a different story to yours. Someone will always be able to see themselves in one of the stories. But if none of us are talking, we won't cover the whole spectrum of the stories that are out there and the issues that need to be fed into. So mine may cover this. Yours may cover that. Someone else will cover a different aspect. But with all of our stories together, don't withhold telling your story, because all of our stories together is going to feed into a different set of people who have that need. This is how you build. If we keep hogging our stories are our testimonies. That's what they are. And to be honest, I don't want to hear anymore, God is good. I already know that. What's he done for you? What is so good that he has done? That's what's going to resonate with people who don't know God. That's going to resonate with people who just walking off the street to your church, just sometimes looking for solace. And they and you don't know what they're there for, but they just went there to hear how honest and true you're going to be. They hear your story and they say, this is a place where I know I can attach myself to, because they're real. I'm
Right.
done with people covering up, and I'm done with this mask that people wear. They're holy and they don't go through nothing. Well,
Hmm.
I'm close to God now, thank God, and I've been through enough. And I'm sharing it because I want you to know what I've been through, why I'm thankful. I want you to know what I've been through, why I say to God be the glory. I want you to know why I'm so jolly and why I'm so happy and why my life has changed significantly over the last year. And that's
Mm.
because I've had to reflect on where I've been and where I am now. And sometimes I don't recognize myself because now I don't even want to talk most of the times. I just sit because I'm in peace and I'm
Mhm.
like, this is good. This peace is good. This peace that I have is really good.
I
So
love. I'm loving this piece.
share your story because you're going to hit someone. You're going to reach someone who needs to hear just that. There are so much more stories far worse than mine that I've heard. They make my story look like nothing, but if people say, yes, I've read your story, but I've been through worse, that worst story needs to come out so
Needs to
that
come
that
out.
person can join and connect with that and understand you could go through that and go and come out as well. Then there's hope for me. It brings hope to people. And
Yeah.
that's what we need, a lot of hope being pushed into people, because there's a lot of people, Joel, that I sit in the down and listen, no one would know that I was going through the things I went through.
No,
That
you
you would
don't
not.
look like what you've been through.
I was high functioning. I
Mm.
still held a full-time job. I went to university. I did prison ministry. I linked myself into prison ministry. I was on the worship teams. I was fully functioning and I was raising children. I was fully functioning. You would not know what I was going through. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people that you look at them, sometimes they look sad. Sometimes
Yeah.
people used to say to me, oh, it's not that bad. I didn't know that my face was showing so much misery and I was just on autopilot. But people used to make comments, but that's what happens. People can see sometimes that something's wrong with you and they mistake it for other things. Oh, she's miserable. She probably isn't miserable, or she's probably miserable not in the way that you think, because
Right.
she's miserable because she's suffering.
Yeah, she's going through
You know what I
something.
mean? So we have to be really careful how we comment on people, how they look and how they behave. Because a lot of it's stemming from this issue that's on the inside. Remember, the Bible says that out of your heart flows the issues of life. So when people are acting up and when people are going on terribly, they probably don't want to, because there's the issues. And I
Issues
talk
of
about
life.
times.
Something inside, happening inside.
Yes, I talk
Mm.
about it in my book of sometimes when I went crazy and said crazy stuff. I mean, because I was crazy. That's why, because I had so many issues going on. And it comes out somewhere. Someone sees it and some people may misinterpret it.
Right, for
And
something
then a lot
else.
of mental illness can stem from this. I'm telling you, I was on the borderline December 22. I was either going to make it or I was going to end up in a mental institution. And
Oh.
if my cousin is on and my daughter is on, Joe Warmington, Sinead Burke, thank you very much. I am calling your name. You saved my life and you don't know even how you did it. You said a word to me. What does it matter what other people think? For years, I made the mistake thinking that everyone was like me. I'm an empath. I love everyone. I want to help everyone. You can't help everyone. It's impossible. And that drove me to brokenness because I couldn't help. It was at the stage where I couldn't help my dad anymore. At one point, they were calling me, and I didn't tell my family anything. They were calling me into hospital for cancer tests, and no one knew. I couldn't tell my family. And I was looking after my dad, and I couldn't get anyone to come and pick him up. And I needed to go into hospital for surgery. So things like this, and I'm not saying it to bash my family. They have their own lives to get on with. But I'm trying to say that the stresses, the way you behave sometimes comes from the inside stresses. So you have to get all of that out, and then you'll find you act differently. Now people say things to me, it doesn't touch me. It doesn't faze me. People act up around me, it doesn't bother me an inch. I will not waste energy in doing that. The only energy I can use with those people now is energy in prayer, to
Wow.
pray for
That's good.
them that they
Yeah.
reach a place of peace like I have.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Absolutely brilliant. This is purpose. This is what I call purpose. Purpose how pain has made a person of a purpose, and that's absolutely very, very inspirational. Um, a couple more comments. Let me read a couple more comments that have come through. I saw a comment from Novlet Forrester. Congratulations, Sister Carol, she says. Another comment from CC Jones. Congratulations, Carol. This is the start of great works
Yeah.
for you in Jesus' name, Lola. Now, we help people to get their books out. That is our calling. That is our assignment. Have been gifted with that and talented. We have a whole team at Opulent Books that does that. And we had the great privilege and honor of working with Carol to get a book out, get it published, and the editing and everything else to where it is right now. So Carol is here, and I love to ask all the authors that we work with to speak on our service, how we do our things, and would you work with us again? And you can say whatever you have the liberty to say. Whatever would you recommend us to somebody out there that really is serious about getting their book out? What would you say to those words, Carol?
If you're serious about getting your book out, and if it's going to be as transparent and open as mine, which it should be, ideally, ensure that you are in the right headspace, in the right heart space, and you've got to consider that you can handle any backlash that comes from your truth. It's not easy writing a book, but it's such an enjoyable experience. I'm sure there'll be more. It's great working in collaboration with Joe. I think it's, if you have been hesitating, don't hesitate any further. If I hadn't jumped on this opportunity when it came, it could have been lost forever, because from 2020, I started to try and write in the lockdown. I always wanted to write a book. And I remember praying one day and saying to God, last year, who am I going to find? I contacted different people. I was thinking, they're not doing what I need them to do. This is not what I want, but not knowing that it wasn't really the timing.
Right.
And I remember going to bed one day and I said, Lord, I really want to write the book now. I want to write a book. And the next morning I woke up with Joe in my inbox. Someone had sent it to me, not knowing that what I prayed or that's what I even wanted to do.
Wow. Amazing
So,
testimony.
yeah, this is how it worked. And that was my trigger to say, yes, this is the time, because you've answered. So make sure that you're ready. Make sure that you are able to face the challenges that come with what you're writing. Make sure you can explain what you're writing, in the sense of anyone questioning why you write, how you write, and what you write. And make sure that it's an honest transcript of what you're saying about, because challenges are nothing when you write honestly.
Mm-hmm.
That's your story. And I encourage anyone who's been holding back, why delay? Why delay? There's no need to delay. If you're sure and you've been holding back, just jump. You don't reach anywhere without taking one step. If you just keep thinking, I've got to get there, and you never move, you never get there. So go ahead and do it, and don't delay. But know that there are challenges, hard work. I remember typing for 8 weeks, night and day.
Is that after we'd met?
Yeah, you set me
Okay.
a deadline.
And I gave you.
And I was like, night and day. He sets me deadlines and he set me homework and all of that. And I'm a person, I like to keep to targets and schedules and things. I don't like to be out of sync with anything. And this man made me type night and day for 8
Night
weeks.
and day.
All weekends, all evenings, I was writing constantly. But it was a great experience, but it's not easy. But I loved every bit of it, and it's grown me. It's made me understand and appreciate a lot of things doing it. So go ahead, don't hesitate.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I can also add it was a pleasure to work with you, and looking forward to what it is that God will have for us in the future. So, again, let me just make a last call to everybody watching live right now as we tie down this interview. The book is available on Amazon. Purpose in the Pain by Carol Scafe. It's out. It's ready, waiting for you to purchase your copy so that you can also be a part of this story. You know, this Carol's story and how she came through it. Perhaps maybe you're in a dark place in your life right now, and you also want to see the light. This is the time to make that leap. You can get in touch with us, send us an email, send me a DM, send us a message. We'll be happy to work with you and help you to get your book out. Carol, I'll give you the last word. Go ahead. Anything you want to say?
I want to just say that there's purpose in your pain. Try and find the reason why you're going through something. Be inward looking, but also outward looking. Choose your friends wisely. Choose the people that you mix with wisely. Some of these external things are adding to your pain. Don't be afraid to set boundaries. Learn to love yourself. Learn to respect yourself. Learn to self-care first. Because when you do all that, you'll be able to radiate that out to other people naturally. It's something that I had to learn. And you know, when sometimes you grow up in church, you're not always taught all of these lessons about red flags with people and things like that. You don't get the sort of manual when you go into marriage, you know, look out for this. They always tell you about all the good stuff of marriage or whatever. No one tells you how to deal with the difficult pieces. So for those of you entering into relationships, just do it very prayerfully and do it very thoughtfully. And when you have a relationship where you've had it break down, don't do what I did and go straight into another one. Give yourself this space to heal, this space to look over the lessons that you have learned, the things that has gone right and gone wrong, and evaluate yourself. Always do self-evaluation and never let anyone tell you that you can't, because you can. And always walk with your head up high and have confidence. Because
Yes,
when you have confidence, you can achieve anything.
that's right.
And when you trust God, it is limitless what will
What you can
happen.
do.
1 year ago, I was a mess, and look at me today. That is a miracle in itself. So please love yourself. And when you do that, you're going to automatically love everyone else. And in setting boundaries, you're loving yourself. So do that and do that wisely. And you'll be okay. You'll just be fine. And then you will find the purpose in your pain when you start talking.
Yes, you will.
You will find it. And I wish that for all of you listening. And I thank you so much. It's been such a blessing to have this opportunity. It's humbling. It really isn't just about the book. It's the book and beyond. Because there's no point of having a book if it does nothing, if it helps no one. And it really isn't about me being an author or my name being known. That's nothing to me. Because if the message doesn't go out and the hearts of people are not healed and we're changed permanently, then it has been worthless. You know what I
True.
mean? We need a lot more love in this world. We are struggling with love in this world, you know, and when we start to love and love properly, it will become infectious. And we need to do that, especially to the churches. Do this. Let me share one thing, Joe, if you don't
Go
mind.
ahead. No problem. Of
This is
course.
very important, I think.
Yeah, of
At
course.
one time, I have a letter to the leaders, the church leaders in the book as well.
Yes, you do.
And the reason why I put that in there is many years ago, I was asked to speak about domestic violence at a church. And the organizer had said that I was speaking to women, but the person above the organizer on the day wanted the men and women to be together. And I had said, if that is happening, I will not be speaking, because you need to realize that you are not helping, for especially for women, and men go through violence and domestic abuse. For women to be in a meeting with me talking about domestic violence and the head saying that the men need to join, you are insensitive to the needs of these women.
Of
You are
these women,
insensitive
yeah.
about the things that they want and possibly could talk about. Men can talk about their issues. Men have different issues. I can't never counsel a man on the issues that men have. I'm clueless about that. But I can counsel a woman about the issues that we face. But I know of a really strong man who has the similar idea that I have for men. And he's in the Midlands, and I don't know if he's on here, but he would be perfect to do the same thing. He has the same kind of drive for men.
Mm-hmm.
Men need healing too.
As well.
Men need help too. There are
Mm-hmm.
men that have a lot of issues too. There are men that don't know how to be a head. A lot of the men I know who are great heads and great examples for me are not in my faith. They're in other faiths, and I see how they manage their homes, how they look after their wives and stuff like that. A lot of them, my friends, are not in the Christian faith, and they show great example. So what I was saying is that as a church, let us be sensitive to the needs of each other. We can't speak, women will not open up about issues that they're going through if it's a man that's causing the issue, and vice versa. If a man is going through certain things, he's not going to want to have a bunch of women listening to it. So let's be sensitive and let's have the conversation go, and let's be honest, and I'm sure that we will be much better people at the end of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carol, for pouring and for sharing. Thanks to everybody that's been live with us, our YouTube audience, our Facebook audience. Thank you, everybody. You can get in touch with Carol on her website. Carol's website is purposeinthepain.co.uk. Of course, there's a link to buy the book from there as well, but it's available on Amazon, paperback version, or you could get it Kindle version. Now we can't wait to see what else that God has in store for you. You know, the website, the podcast, the talk show, the forum, the interviews. I declare that God will continue to just lift you up and bless you, make you a light that will shine so brightly and point others in the right direction as well. So have a wonderful evening, everybody. Make sure you get your copy. Make sure you grab your book on Amazon. Because the book will change your life. Listen, maybe you may not be going through any dark moment or domestic violence or whatever, but you know somebody that needs this book. It will change their life. Get it and gift it to somebody. All right, until we see you next time on the next video, may God bless you, everybody, and have a wonderful evening. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.